Welcome to the channel, this time from Tallinn in Estonia, where I will be attending and hosting for the second year Ambizion 2026. The mission of this video is to show you why Amazon conferences like this conference, which is one of the biggest conferences in the region here for Amazon sellers, conferences are so important for you to attend. I'm gonna actually take you along behind the scenes about how we prep these conferences and all of that. Follow along for more.
How many people were at the sauna event last night? Yo! You guys are my people. Anybody that wasn't there, we got some swag that we were giving out. These are really good, authentic sauna hats, not made in China. And I'm gonna be tossing them out to you guys if you pay attention. And I'm gonna toss one out right now to anybody that can answer me this question first. Ready? What is the capital of Estonia?
Oh my God.
Chris, you presented perfectly, obviously. You threw out some fantastic sauna hats as well. But, I say maybe you are the Claude expert when it comes to Amazon. Sophie Society obviously is number one probably in a lot of things that you guys do. But walk us through what you talked about during your presentation today at Ambizion.
Yeah, basically, so our philosophy is that Claude makes people better at what they do in e-commerce. So it just like augments people who are already good at what they do and allows them to do way more of it, way better.
Yeah.
So what we went through here was just a bunch of Claude skills that make specific functions in an Amazon brand faster and better. And the crazy thing is, this is what I really wanted to communicate to everybody here, is that there are a lot of functions already, and this is only like a couple months old.
Yep.
Like Claude Cowork, Claude Code, and actually being able to create skills for specific workflows. There are certain things like the Rufus optimization, for example, which is now Alexa shopping. There are certain things that you can do with agentic in an Amazon brand that a human actually can't do, or at least can't do well. And Alexa shopping optimization is one example of that, because you're optimizing your listing for AI to show up in agentic tools, like specifically Amazon's Alexa shopping agent. So a person isn't actually the best type of entity to do that, because a person isn't good at thinking like an AI, because it's not AI. AI is actually better at optimizing a listing for AI than a person could. And that's just one example. There's a growing list of examples like that. So we went through a bunch of skills. The main thing that I wanted people to come away from today was a feeling of empowerment, of being able to create their own skills for their own workflows. And I think that's really the future, is Amazon brands creating their own AI operating system inside their brand that's specific to them. So we're moving away from a period of like using cookie cutter SaaS tools that are available to everyone to custom solutions specifically for my brand. So hopefully they came away with that.
I think it was fantastic.
All right, so what I'm gonna talk through with you guys in the short time that I have up here on stage is how to use Claude as an Amazon seller. And how many people have used Claude in their business? Hands up. Okay, good, that's more than half. Awesome.
I saw a podcast with someone, and the person was saying, we're actually spending more time because of AI, because people are going crazy creating all of those skills and stuff like that you actually, instead of working less, you're working more, just because you want to AI-ify everything in your life. Yeah. But you said something really good, is like you don't have to have more Claude skills, you just have to have really good ones for it to make sense. How do you not fall into the trap of trying to AI-ify, if that's even a word, everything in your whole business or your workflows when it comes to Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, you really were listening.
You really were listening.
Yeah, that is true, because you do get really excited and you're like, oh, these Claude skills can do so much, so I want more. And you can go online onto like Reddit threads and GitHub repositories and like, you know, download a whole repository of 1,000 skills. And you can, I mean, a lot of people do that, but it actually harms you, because if you do that, then Claude has to parse through all those skills anytime you prompt it to see if any of them are relevant to your prompt. And it might pick ones that are relevant, but it didn't actually need, and it uses up more tokens, it takes more time, it doesn't make sense. You just want better skills. So I think, I mean, to answer your question about how do you not get in the trap of AI-ifying everything, I do think we're in just a little period now where everyone is shifting from like manual workflows to AI workflows, and there is like this transition period where you kind of are spending more time, because you have to not only do your job, but you have to also be training AI to do your job at the same time. But I think there'll be a post-transition period where once brands have really settled on the AI workflows that are permanent or semi-permanent in their business, they can just rely on those, and that will cause us not to spend more time. We'll probably spend the same amount of time, we'll just be able to do way more with that time. Exactly. And that's what, like for us, it's funny because everyone always said that like, well, now with agentic, there's gonna be less coders, like we don't need computer programmers anymore, for example. For us, we actually increased our development costs and increased the number of coders on our team, because we're implementing so many like custom AI tools, and we need to, you know, connect directly to the Amazon data, build an MCP, and we're building like custom modules and stuff. So being able to vibe code didn't remove those jobs, it just made them so much more effective.
Better outputs, basically.
Yeah, better and more. So I think that's what's going to end up happening. It's really hard to visualize, and that's why we're all like, oh, it's like everyone's job is going to be taken. But really what I think is going to happen is there's still going to be an accountable person for each domain, but that person is going to be way more effective. We're just in this transition period where there's still people doing the job, but those people are also responsible for training the AI to do the job, so they're working more than they were before. But after like you actually reach a steady state where you have an operating system, well, we're not there yet. We're in the middle of this transition too. We're building our operating framework for our whole portfolio of brands, and each brand in particular. And so we're basically in the same position that you just said. But there'll be a period after that where we reach a steady state of these are the workflows that we do for these particular roles and these particular functions, and anybody can execute them. The library is known and everybody in the company has access to them, and everyone's used to using AI. So I think that it will, after this transition period, go back to not AI-ifying everything, but just the things that actually matter.
Does Amazon presence ever influenced, we talked about it, but has it ever influenced business channel negatively in the way where they don't like you to sell there? Like, nah, you're selling on Amazon, we don't want to.
Okay, there is two things. Yes, it used to be the same, but to be honest, like 15 years ago, it was the same with supermarkets. I don't want to be at Walmart or Carrefour, but Apple is selling there. So this is not so to be honest, Amazon is okay now. The only issue is the price.
Michael, absolutely inspirational. Your story and what you guys are doing. Get everyone, explain to everyone that is watching the video exactly what you talked about in your presentation.
Yeah, no, I really wanted to focus on the omnichannel parts of owning an Amazon business, because Amazon is great. I mean, we are a good example. It's great platform, but it's also very dangerous to only stay on Amazon. And right now, this is a big shift over the last few years. But the consumer, he wants to be able to buy on Amazon, yes, but he wants also to find the best brands in the shop, in the brick and mortar shops, or also on D2C websites. So this is something you need to manage, and it's not that easy. And this is what I talk about. First topic is how you manage ads, because you're going to spend money on Meta, on Google, on TikTok, on content creators, and how you manage that, because you can drive the traffic to your website, but people are going to buy in the shop or on Amazon anyway. So this is one of the first topic, and I think it's very important. We can spend hours talking about that for sure. But and the second topic was how you can create an organization around the omni-channel strategy. Because I think one of the good examples I gave is about the stock management. You know you're going to run out of stock. Who has the priority? Amazon, your D2C, or the brick and mortar shops?
Yeah.
And this is a big question. If you are not able to enter that, you're going to have troubles. And same, if you have people that are incentivized on the performance,
yeah.
If the sales manager on the retail, you say, okay, the stock is for Amazon, you cannot sell. Say, yeah, but this is not fair. I cannot reach my target at the end of the year, so I don't get my bonus. See? So those are really the very important points.
Decrease when my ACoS is too high on the placement, now will increase when the ACoS is low. I think that's the wrong approach because you also have keywords with bids, and those placements are only multipliers. And also, you can't actually go below 0 on those placement adjustments. Amazon doesn't allow you to decrease.
Stephen, you absolutely killed it on stage. Your presentation was fantastic. Give us a little bit of a run through what you talked about on stage for anyone that isn't in the room here with us.
So in a lot of surveys that have been run, asking people about their biggest pain points when it comes to Amazon advertising, the number one issue people have said is high ACoS or increasing ACoS. And how they try to troubleshoot it, a lot of times it's the wrong way. They just look at which campaigns have the highest ACoS first and try to fix those. Mm-hmm. But I show a different approach, and we just look at, drill everything down to just 2 variables. What's actually driving that increased ACoS? Now, which campaigns are most matching those 2 variables, so you can actually start getting down to the root of the problem and fixing it.
A lot of sellers, specifically those that watch our channel, are sellers that are just coming into the Amazon game. Mm-hmm. And they see ads as such a difficult thing, and they figure like there's no way I can succeed without understanding ads. Nowadays, in today's ecosystem, how important is it to maybe rely on tools or understand the whole manual aspect of doing ads?
Yeah, I like to understand things, even if I'm not the one doing it. I like to understand things. I mean, I watched like 3 hours of YouTube videos on how a quantum computer works because it bothered me that I didn't really know. I still don't know. But I mean, even if you're using AI and automations, whatever, I think you still need to understand how the PPC works. And it seems really easy. Maybe it doesn't seem easy, but like that becoming a beginner is pretty easy.
Yep.
But that's where most people stop, and that's the most dangerous thing because you think you know what you're doing and you make just a lot of beginner mistakes. So to really go from that beginner level to an intermediate and advanced level, we have a free online course that I would recommend people we got a free online course that can help get you from beginner to advanced, and that could be a good place to start, or you might just want to hire someone else who is advanced to help you out.
Tell us a little bit more about you guys as Ad Labs. What do you do? How do you support sellers?
Yeah, we are primarily we're an advertising first Amazon advertising optimization platform. Mm-hmm. So we just help you analyze the data better. It's basically just Google Sheets or Excel on steroids. So quick summing and adding division functions built into it. You can quickly calculate what the bid should be using our bidding algorithm. Everything's black and white math. We don't like these black box algorithms, and there's AI in it so it can help you think through what you should be doing, but you're going to at least be able to understand why the decisions are being made, and you can agree or disagree with it, and so yeah.
You see here, item type keyword is the one that we wanna be prioritizing, right? So you see how they change in the new template. The item type keyword, it is not what we see now in here, which is normally 2 words or 3 words connected by a dash.
Vanessa, absolutely wonderful to see you here in Estonia, in Tallinn. So give us a little bit of a brief about what you discussed during your presentation today.
Yeah, so basically I told sellers and I explained how to scale their business with AI by having the proper data infrastructure around their catalog. Because that's one thing that in the past, when we build listings, we were not thinking about AI. And now AI is the most important tool that we have available, and our data needs to be clean and have the integrity to scale with us. So it was a lot of that and how to do it with flat files.
Yeah. Talking about AI, it's the hot topic certainly with Claude and everything. Do you think at this moment in time, you can completely rely on AI, or is it something that you can utilize as a tool, meaning something that can help you, but you have to always make sure
well, I mean, the answer is super easy because Amazon doesn't even allow you to automate a lot of the work that needs to be done in the account. Also, a lot of people are trying to use agents to automate the Seller Central work are getting suspended. So it's a problem. I do not recommend people to use only AI to manage their business, but it's a phenomenal tool to do so. So I think we should utilize the tool, learn what are the things that are allowed or not, and scale the business. I mean, the difference between now and before is that with 2 people, you can have a multi-billion-dollar business. Before, you needed like at least 10 people to manage it all. So it is not a complete hands-off, but we'll probably get there. I don't know.
Yeah. It's about working smarter.
Exactly.
Yeah. One tip for everyone that's watching us, somebody that's maybe, because the majority of people that watch our channel are thinking of launching, or they've just launched their Amazon business, so new sellers. What would be one tip for sellers that are launching new on Amazon? One thing that you would like to let them know?
When you launch on Amazon, think about launching in e-commerce in every single marketplace and every single channel, because the mistake that I see a lot of people do is that they only focus on Amazon, and when they are thinking about diversifying, the infrastructure, the mistakes they made only for Amazon will not translate to other stuff. So I don't know, a lot of data integrity, like building the data properly, and that's what my talk was about. That's why in the world of AI, data is the most important thing.